Hi, y'all. This is a report on the Great Kapok Tree, written and illustrated by Lynn Cherry. A report by me, Ann Wuthrich. This is for my Multicultural Education class, Phase 2. Thank you for watching. The Great Kapok Tree was originally published in 1990, but it was actually just recently republished for its 30-year anniversary, and with a new cover as well as an additional letter from the author in the back. Now about that author, Lynn Cherry. Lynn Cherry is passionate about the environment and teaching children about how to care for our earth. She received her master's in history from Yale University and her teaching certificate from Temple University. Cherry is an internationally published writer and has contributed both as an author and as an illustrator to over 30 literary works. In 2008, she created a documentary series that was featured on PBS and a nonprofit as well, both called the Young Voices for the Planet. Now, the series focused on inspiring youth to take action and to make a difference in their world. It was about 13 short films, all based around different children who saw an issue in their local environment and stepped up to the plate to find a change and a fix for it. The Great Kapok Tree. The Great Kapok Tree is a story of a young man who is sent into the rainforest to chop down a kapok tree. The animals and the people who live there begging him not to while he sleeps beneath the boughs of the tree. Each page in this story is beautifully illustrated and speaks to the lives that depend on the tree for survival. They each describe to the man how important the tree is for them and for the survival overall of the rainforest. The main theme in the Great Kapok Tree. The Great Kapok Tree was written originally as a curriculum to help teach children about the threat to the world's rainforests, in hopes to empower them in ways that they can work together to protect the rainforests. It was dedicated to a man named Chico Mendes, who was an environmentalist in Brazil who dedicated and ultimately lost his life while protecting the rainforest. I really loved this page. And it really does have a quote in here from the monkeys that really encapsulates the message that I believe Lynn Cherry was trying to convey with the Great Kapok Tree. And that quote from the story is when the monkeys are telling the sleeping man, "Senor, we have seen the ways of man. You chop down one tree, then come back for another and another. The roots of these great trees will wither and die, and there will be nothing left to hold the earth in place. When the heavy rains come, the soil will be washed away, and the forest will become a desert." I just love the artwork in this book. I think that she is so incredibly talented. It is absolutely beautifully rendered, and this page here really encapsulates the message that she is trying to give. We must protect the forest, otherwise it will become a desert. The illustrations. Now, the illustrations in this book were done from reference photos that she received from different scientists and colleagues around the world that had been studying in the Amazon rainforest. She herself went to the Amazon rainforest as well, and on that trip, they saw this little redneck tanager, as you can see up in the right-hand corner. Now, next to that, what I found in the border of the title and end page, you can see is a redneck tanager as well that is based off of that reference photo that she herself took. Now, the start of the book and the end of the book is a map with the rainforest highlighted. And around the border, you can see images of different endangered animals that call the rainforest home. I think each of these is so beautifully detailed, and I just love that she included so many different animals and species, and these pages have been some of the favorite of the students in my class. How it relates. The Great Kapok Tree is a great way to add texture for young students learning about South America or the Amazon rainforest in particular. It tells a really powerful story and features many of the animals that reside there, as well as featuring a little boy who is from the Yanomamo tribe who lives in the forest as well. Throughout the story, They call the man Senor, using the Brazilian spelling of the word, and sends a message that in the end, he is a good man who decides not to destroy the animal's home. This book can be used to help create an inclusive space by the lead being culturally conscious, as well as the characters represented in the book are a culture that is not white middle class American. With that being said, it can help children of Latinx or children that come from South America relate to it more because they're seeing a figure in the book represented of the same culture that they are. My thoughts on this book. While reading this book for the first time, I immediately was drawn to how wonderful and detailed the illustrations are. With so many hidden details throughout the pages, including the different types of insects and plants and animals that you can find, just so much detail in this art. It's really easy for me, as somebody who's not in the target audience, to find enjoyment just trying to name all of the different animals and plant life that can be found featured on its pages. I really enjoyed that it reinforced the idea that just because somebody tells you to do something, like the old man in the beginning, he tells the young man, "This is the kapok tree that we will chop down," you don't have to do it. You can choose to disagree when you know it's the wrong thing to do to take that action, just like this man did in the story. Implementation into a class curriculum. I was lucky enough myself to be able to deliver a lesson based on the book in a preschool classroom that I currently work in under the guidance of my head teacher. During the month of April, we were learning about South America and the many different animals that lived there. We used this as a segue into the story and asked questions of the children ages 3 through 5 about the story after we read it. It prompted some really great answers from the children and also led us into a further conversation and reflection on how we can help keep our planet healthy and how we can do our part to help the Amazon rainforest. Some of the questions asked were adapted from questions on Cherry Lynn's website. She does have a few curriculum questions that she has written herself and some prompts for how to kind of get the conversation rolling with children. The questions that we asked were, how does the rainforest seem similar to the schoolyard or your yard at home? How is it different? What are some of the animals that we saw in the story that they've seen before, either in zoos or, as for some of the insects or birds, have we seen them outside in our own habitats? And what can we do to help protect the rainforest and our own local forest near us? I really loved the answers to the questions that our kids had, and it really did seem to inspire quite a few of them to start recycling and to doing different works that were more in line with South America. One thing that we did do is we started creating art out of a lot of the recyclable materials, and we looked around our classroom to see what materials or wood products that we had that may have come from the Amazon rainforest. Evaluation of the Great Kapok Tree. It is clear through the illustration and detailed storyline how much passion Lynn Cherry has for her work as an environmentalist. She brought that passion and transformed it into a classic children's book, and it has won numerous awards and helped empower children across the world to raise thousands of dollars for conservation efforts in the Monte Verde rainforest in Costa Rica. This book became an instant favorite in my own household and my personal library with my 5-year-old daughter, and was well received by the students in my class and is frequently taken off the shelf at school to be looked at during free time. My cited sources here at the end. I do definitely suggest, if you are interested in the story, to take a look at Lynn Cherry's official website. There is a link to her documentary film as well, and some additional pictures and reference photos from the Great Kapok Tree. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope that you have a great rest of your semester.